Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's workshop, the Ascension Sessions. Today's workshop is about attracting consistent clients organically without ads, which is the dream, right? So my name is Capelli and I am a business growth coach for coaches who would like to seriously level up their marketing and sales skills. Let's get into today's session. What if the best lead magnet you could ever create wasn't a PDF? You know, these usual PDFs like offering 5 diet tips, 5 relationship tips, whatever. What if it wasn't a webinar? What if it wasn't a challenge? What if you were offering something that was so wildly different to anything people had seen before that literally blew everything else out of the water? Something that people could never say no to when it comes to a free offering. So today I'm going to be talking about building communities and my own experience of building a thriving community of 8,000 women that essentially brought me in clients on demand without needing to spend any money on ads. So by the end of this session, you'll know how to use a free community as your own lead magnet for your business to attract consistent clients. So let's get into it. Regular client attraction, what does that usually look like? So normally we're thinking of things like cold outreach. So we might be in people's DMs in places like LinkedIn or Instagram, maybe in their inbox, or offering generic lead magnets. So for anybody who isn't aware of what a lead magnet is, it's usually it's a free or very, very low cost offering just to get people through the door, usually to take their email address. So you can have constant contact and give them exposure to yourself so that they trust you enough to then go on to buy product. So when you see things like these PDFs telling you how to do XYZ, that's usually what it is. It's usually a lead magnet. Other client attraction method could be just aimless posting. So going on social media, spraying the wall with a bunch of content and hoping something lands with no rhyme or reason. And what this usually results in is very unpredictable and unstable income for yourself. So it's not consistent revenue. You never know kind of where your next client's coming from or when somebody's going to magically come across you and like what you do. And also your client base in this scenario generally have nothing to do with each other. They're completely disjointed. They don't know each other. They're not speaking to each other to sort of generate a certain energy around your offering or anything like that. So what does purpose-led client attraction looks like? So this is a lead magnet with life-changing potential. We're not just trying to offer them something that they're going to read in 5 minutes and then forget about forever. We're going to offer them something that can literally help them in their journey and support them. And that is building a community of like-minded people. So bringing your clients together or your prospects together in a nurturing community where they can learn from not just you, but also each other. So creating a community gives clients somewhere where they can know you more intimately and they can build trust with what it is that you're offering. And also when you release events or any services, you have potential aligned buyers already there waiting for everything that you want to put out next. So I'm just going to tell you a bit about my own story. And this was building an adventure company that received clients on demand. What I will say about what coaches offer and about what I offered is something wildly different, right? Because with coaches, you offer service in the health, wealth and relationship space. These are essentially some of the easiest things to market from a psychological perspective, because it's things that we personally desire to get ahead in life. But me selling adventure travel and adventure trips, that was a lot more difficult because it's seen as a nice to have unless it's framed in a particular way. So with my personal story, building a community. So in 2020, I moved to Bristol. I didn't know anybody. So I gathered a bunch of women in a Facebook group at the time and started to run free events. I ran bouldering events because I wanted to try it out myself. And initially, only one person came along and then two people came along. So that's kind of how I got started. It was completely unintentional, just something for myself. And then in 2021, I moved on to monetized events. So I became a qualified guide, and at this point, this community had grown to 1,000 members. I'd actually relocated from Bristol back to London. And there it turned out there was a huge audience for this particular thing because nobody was hiking in London and didn't know where to access this kind of thing. So then I started to run paid events. I was very, very nervous to release my first paid event to my community. And it was crazy how it happened because I basically posted my first event and it sold out in a couple of hours. Even though it was essentially everything I've been offering for free, people had built up enough trust around me that they were happy to buy. So this is how this works. I was also doing collaborations at the time, so taking commissions by working with other adventure retreat owners. So in 2023, if we fast forward, I started selling UK retreats and I started doing things like corporate talks. And at this time, it had grown to around 5,000 members and it pretty much had its own legs. And we're talking about a free community here. So I ran it on Facebook and meetup.com. So people could join for free. I hosted weekly free events called Bouldering and Beer, where we would go climbing and grab a beer after. And that was really the catalyst, pulling people in and exposing them to all of my paid stuff. So this worked really well. And these UK retreats, we're now talking at a price point of around £200 to £500, and they would always sell out. People would always buy them. And then fast forward into 2024 now, we're a full-blown tour operator. So full-blown adventure company, everything in place. And at this time I had won grants for this company and I'd been invited into investor programs because they were quite interested in what I'm doing. And also I was selling out overseas retreats that I was putting together myself. So everything we would drop, it would just sell out. And I was also selling virtual programs with this as well, and a virtual membership that people could join and be a part of. So there was a lot going on. So you can see how that started from just offering something for free to then selling product, which was valued at around £1,000 to £2,000, or in some cases even more. What attracts community members? Why would people come into a community? What is the point? And it's the same as Impact Coach Collective, right? Like, what attracted you to join a community like this? I obviously said a buzzword somewhere for you to think, oh yeah, that's a bit of me. 9 times out of 10, people join a community because it's connection. They want to be around like-minded people. I think especially in the age that we're at now, with the rise of AI, people want more and more human connection. So I don't think that communities are going to be something that are dying out. It's going to be the opposite. Community marketing is just going to rise in popularity as people try to find safe spaces where they can reach out to their own people who they feel like they have something in common with. It might be the identity of the community that attracts the members. If it's serving certain pain points. So with my community, for example, I was helping women escape their busy career-driven lives and taking them out into the countryside. If somebody runs a fitness community, they can relate to the fact that they want to be around those types of people. They want to get fitter. The community is actually helping them to do that, etc., etc. And the free stuff. Usually in communities, you do get free stuff. With Impact Coach, you get these workshops for free. You get the learning center. You also get to discuss things with each other and connect there. So there's usually something free that pulls you in. You can see how this could be wildly more impressive than just a free generic lead magnet, because the amount of free stuff you can drop in there is kind of endless, and you can sort of never give too much when it comes to the free stuff. How does it work? When you're first starting out, you're usually offering free access. What free access does is it gives your audience more intimate exposure to you as a coach. So they see a little bit more of you than they usually would on social media. This can also work for newsletters. When you're sending out newsletters, it should be quite an intimate look at your life, not just the constant hard sell. So they're getting access to you and free access to other things also. And then it's more like a natural conversion because they're exploring the community and they're seeing your stuff and what you do. And then they think, I now trust and like this person. I'm more than happy to pay for the value that they're offering. So what some community members might do here is then have a free community and then have a pay community, or they'll just have a free community and then offer paid services off the back of that. So with me, off of the back of this, people can work with me one-on-one, and that is a paid service, or they can pay for a digital audit of their bios and their website. So there's always sort of this progressive journey that they can take. The member journey starts at free, and then rather than just going from free straight to high ticket sale, you would have something in the middle. So a very gradual process in what they can get from you. So the more they pay, the more of you they will get. Where the hell do we start building communities? Like, there's so many platforms these days, it's quite hard to comprehend which one to use. Where do you go? When I built mine, I started it as a Facebook group, and I was also on a platform called meetup.com. For anybody that doesn't know meetup.com, that shows you local events. It worked really well for me because I was running in-person events. So if you do run in person and they are consistent, it can be a really good place to go because the algorithm on meetup.com is quite good. And if it takes hold of you, it will just constantly deliver you new members. For virtual events, I've heard it's not the best. So I can't vouch for that right now. With Facebook, some people think that Facebook's kind of dying a death. It definitely isn't. I don't know if you've been in any Facebook communities recently, but they are thriving. They're thriving. You can find Facebook communities on literally any niche, any topic. It's actually a fantastic place to market if you haven't used it already. So here I've just got some examples. Here we've got a vegan bodybuilding and nutrition group on Facebook. So that has 34,000 members, quite a lot. So you can imagine if these guys are offering some sort of service, because a typical conversion rate, you know, it might be around like 5% or 10%, but that's actually quite a big number. But again, it all depends on the engagement and how many people are really being active in that group. We've got a meetup.com group here, London Cash Flow Club. So if you are a wealth coach, there's definitely space for you here. This is on, where did I find this? I found this on Go High Level. So I use a platform called Go High Level. That's what you're in right now. I actually use a way cheaper version because Go High Level is £100 a month. I use the exact same software for £15 a month. And I will drop the link to that because I use a white label. Somebody else is paying £300 a month for the privilege to resell herself. And she's only charging £15, which is madness because on Go High Level, you get everything. It's a complete solution for your business. And this is just another example. You've obviously got Impact Coach Collective. You know what goes on there. But it also uses a system called Go Collab. It's quite complicated to explain here. But this is another group that I found operating at a Go High Level. The Heat Challenge community, and that has 313 members. There's also apps like Clique. So that's one in London. That's pretty popular for women in their 20s to 30s. That's really sort of blowing up, especially for fitness communities. And there's School as well. School is really, really coming up in the world of community. It is £100 a month. That's why I don't use it because it's quite spenny, and I'd rather not let go of £100 a month when just starting out a free community. But if you're going to move up to paid, it's definitely worth consideration. It looks exactly the same as Go High Level. It's just a bit more popular. So that's also worth looking at as well. This session today is part of the Purpose with Profit framework. These are 8 sessions that I deliver one-on-one to mastering and attracting aligned clients on demand whilst making an impact. It's essentially how to use marketing to almost turn your business into a movement. And I teach everything there, from social media to ads to time management to delegation and outsourcing and content. So this is just a mini session from that framework. What would you put inside of your community? So inside your community, you want to think about things like events, virtual or in person. Some people don't love running events. I think it does take a certain type of person, but just know that there are events for every personality type. So let's say if inside this community, all I wanted to run is a virtual co-working where we don't speak. We just sit there together with the camera on, but we kind of know each other's there. So there's not much talking that would be involved in that scenario. I definitely know a lot of introverts who aren't very comfortable with public speaking who run their own communities. So if you think it's not for you, just think of different ways that you can make this work. Some people will never run any type of event. So just be collecting people in Facebook groups. Sometimes they'll be going live, or even collecting people through a newsletter can sometimes feel a little bit like a community. You could run workshops such as this one to expose people to your knowledge and your expertise. Or you can offer some other value, such as calls or resources. As part of Impact Coach Collective, I offer a free call so people can get on the phone with me. It's not a sales call. And then after, if they decide they want to work with me one-on-one, that's an option for them. And resources as well. You can have some sort of resource database. So it doesn't need to be events. I know some communities where it's literally just flooded with pre-recorded sessions and resources that they can access. So things like scripts or, calendars, stuff that people find useful in their journey or whatever they're going through with you. The key to running a successful community is engagement all day long. It's basically all about engagement. And usually what you can expect when you first start a community is zero engagement, nada. It's the hardest thing. But in the beginning, you need to expect crickets, because most people end up giving up on their communities because they think, well, nobody's showing up to the events. Nobody's speaking in the community. It's so frustrating. It just takes some time, but don't give up on it. You just need to be showing up each day, dropping a little comment, and you'll start to see, even with Impact Coach Collective, you're going to start to see slowly people will get the courage to introduce themselves on the discussion board, or they will start liking things that people are saying, or they will start commenting on threads. It just takes a little bit of time to get going. But once it builds and starts thriving, it's just a spectacular place. With Adventurous, my previous community, the huge one, I mean, I was in love with these people. They just brought me so much joy, and we would have such great chats. All started on Facebook, but that took a little while to get going. So it's just with time. So what's the payoff? What happens when we start to grow a thriving community of prospect clients? So when they're in your community, they don't feel like clients, right? They're loyal followers of your values and belief system, because some people can turn their community into almost like this world where they're living in your world. You share your values and your beliefs and what you know and what you do, and they suddenly feel like they're part of something. That is the main goal. You really want them to feel like they're part of something, not just this kind of generic soulless group. And then what they'll start to do is they'll begin to tell others about what you've created, because they love it and they really want to spread the word and invite others in and be like, I'm part of this thing. It's really great. You should check it out too. And then trust is built through exposure to you and the results you provide. So sometimes it's always good to kind of share what's been going on in the group, give updates of particular members of the group, who's doing a great job in their journey, what kind of events you ran, the smiling faces. Always be sure to take pictures. We need that social proof all the time. So photos of the events, photos of the members and what they're doing well. Just never stop with that kind of work if you are going to start your own. Here's what it can do for you in the end. Well, here's what it did for me anyway. and why I know it works and why I swear by this, guys, because like I said in the beginning, I did not use ads to grow this company, which is a wild concept. It was a travel adventure company. Who can sell out retreats and not run ads at a £2,000 price point? It is purely community that got me there, which is why I'm now doing it with Impact Coach, because I know that this stuff works. So it brought in aligned clients on demand. People just decide if they want to buy from you. You don't need to hard sell anybody. They will just see what you're up to and think, I want to be in on this. Nothing is about trying to shove sales down people's throats when you use this method, which is why I love it, because I don't believe in unethical sales tactics. You feel like you're making a big difference. Eventually what will come is these really beautiful messages letting you know what this community has done for them and their lives. Clients will feel more connected to you. So they'll start to feel like they know you a bit more. They'll feel a sense of belonging in the community. And it starts to build a movement, not just a business or a brand. It has this kind of knock-on effect. It's really weird. I mean, I used to walk around London and get recognised in the street in a city with millions of people from people that were in this community. What I love about community is that I don't have to keep changing my lead magnet every time I get a new idea, because some of us work that way. Like I work sort of on instinct, on impulse, how I feel in the moment. And it allows for that experimentation. Whenever I feel like I want to offer something different, I can just drop it in the community. I don't have to like reinvent the wheel with a brand new lead magnet and decide, okay, I'm going to go in this direction. Everything you just drop in there and see how it lands, and also get feedback from your community. They are there for you to ask them, what do you want to see next? What do you enjoy in this community? What would you like us to do together? It's like having a focus group there all the time that you don't need to pay for. It's fantastic. And of course, it increases sales. I feel like everything I've said up to this moment makes that a sort of given. You will get more sales when you have a community, because people will be accessible to you. Yes, if you're running a free community, you will get people in the group that never ever want to buy, but that's absolutely fine. You never know who they're going to recommend to you in point in your direction. So that's what it's great for. Okay, so what's next if you want to get the most out of receiving this information would be to pick a platform or think of a platform that you would work with the best, usually one that you're actually familiar with and that you can start off on. Facebook is quite a good entry level. It does take a lot of work to get engagement going in Facebook now, because they will only send notifications if the person's been in there in like the last week. But if you are highly active in the Facebook group and sort of posting often, it will eventually take off. And when you've got the Facebook community algorithm, like there's no stopping you. It will just refer people to you all the time. Create a little world around your community. So don't just open any random community, create the world first. Think to yourself, when people step into this, what are they going to experience? What will their journey be? Where do they start and where do we want to get them to? And what are things about your own values that you can introduce them to? So for me, I like to speak a lot about full autonomy of my time. I like to speak about running a more of a experienced and lifestyle based business rather than being tied to the grind. So there's loads of concepts that you can kind of introduce them to. And the people that are most aligned with you will probably want to buy from you because they feel this resonance between you. When you bring your community together, make sure you're nurturing the members. So you can do that in and outside of the community. For me, I like to pop into my community members' Instagrams and just cheer them on. Everyone wants a comment, everyone wants a like. So I like to go in there and just be their biggest cheerleader. There's ways that you can really show up for your community members, but just getting them in and then forgetting all about them. Get to know these people, really take care of them, and they will thank you for it. They will be appreciative of that. I mean, go above and beyond. We see this in business now. People don't really go above and beyond anymore. So people aren't expecting that. Just show them that you really care. If you're confused about any of this, you can book a call with me. I'll leave a link below. Again, it's not a sales call. It's just inviting you to jump on a call with me and unravel any of this if you've heard it and you think, yeah, I really don't get that. Okay, so that's the end of the mini workshop today. I hope you found this helpful. And what I do when I'm running these workshops is I go through the challenges in the list and I see the biggest challenges. And those challenges, that is what I'm leaking from the Profit with Purpose framework to bring to you guys. So if you do have anything you'd like me to run a workshop on, please do let me know. I'm just going to stop the video here and I'll run a Q&A for you guys that have shown up live to this session. But for everyone else, I'll see you next time.